Welcome to Passionate Mark. In this podcast, I just recorded it, and I wanted to say just before it starts, in this podcast, I was pretty sure that it was going to be called Passionate Mind. But then I looked it up. There's some guy having a podcast called Passionate Mindset. He didn't make a podcast since 2021, but still, I do have a nice first name that's called Mark. And since my initial idea was calling it fucking passionate with Mark Bonner, because that's the name of the Danish one, just translated, it's just called fucking passionate med Mark Bonner. Means the same thing. But then I'm like, I don't want people to get confused to choose the English and the Danish one. So I'd just rather call it Passionate Mark. And so I'm going to mention that I'm going to call it Passionate Mind in this podcast. But bear with me. I might edit it out. But I think I'm actually going to leave it in because this is all a process. And I think sometimes editing it too much, it might not be very authentic. But I mean, sure, it's also supposed to be fun. But now you know that this podcast is now called Passionate Mark. I'm going to change the name right now, so I'll stick with it. I am Mark Bonner. You're listening to Passionate Mark. It was usually called fucking Passionate, this podcast, but now I actually changed it because I do spend a lot of time in the mind, and it then is not named the same thing as my other podcast. Right now, I just wanted to speak to you about how we can change our mind, how we can prepare the mind. When you have to go to the supermarket, and I want you to kind of imagine where the supermarket is compared to where you are right now, and experience how will you find your way to the supermarket? Do you know? Can you right now imagine you going from wherever you are to the nearest supermarket? Can you literally see the road in front of you? Maybe even you opening the door at some point, walking to that place. Maybe already is. Sorry, I'm still Danish, so I still have to translate. Maybe you already are in the supermarket. So it's not that hard to find the way, but then you can find your way back from that in your mind. So when you want to do anything in life, your brain will automatically plan out how to get there. If you have a want in your life, if you have a passion, anything you want in life, there's some certain amount of passion behind it. Maybe you want to do something that has no passion behind it. Do you think it's going to get done? No, probably not, because there's no passion behind it. That's why I'm so occupied with the idea of passion, because it's so important. Like right now, I had no time or situation to actually make this podcast. It's just because I was passionate, and even though it's 1:19 at night, a.m. in the morning, I just thought I'll share my thoughts. So that's why my voice is like very calm and tired. But I want you to remind yourself that anything you want to do, your mind starts working at what it knows and how to use the tools it knows to have been used in the past to do or get to wherever you want to go in life. That's why we talk about laws of attraction. Laws of attraction is very often people say, I want to be rich, so I will be rich. No, that's not how it works. You say what you want, and then you might get that if you keep saying it. But is that enough? No, you even have to believe it. Okay, but that's easy. I'll just say, I am rich. But then does your subconscious mind go and say, yeah, but you're not. So your subconscious mind is so strong, it's not really correct to say that. But your brain only uses 5%. 5% of your brain is used every day. But your subconscious mind is, of course, part of that. But let's just play around with it and say 95% of your brain is not used for anything. I mean, we can't see activity in your brain when your brain is working, and we're looking at our brain scan, and you're just basically using 5% of your brain most of the time. So that kind of gives you the mystery. Do we have special gifts that we're not really using because the brain can do so much more? Are we like, do we have the power to make that even like higher than 5%? And we know savants, like people who are either born savants, and I urge you to research savants because it's very interesting. Just go on YouTube and search for savants, and you can see a movie like Rain Man, like a 90s movie or something like that, of a guy that's a real life guy that they made a movie about with Tom Cruise in the main role, as well as with Dustin Hoffman playing the guy in the movie. And he has this special ability. He knows exactly everything that he's been through and everything he's read. His photographic memory is excellent. It's like extremely good. And so if you see this movie, you will realize like this guy has a talent. You can say any date and he knows how the weather was on that date. He can read a book with like one eye on one page and the other eye on the other page and literally make it make sense. He's a very smart guy, but since he's a savant, he's not functioning very well. He's always been living in a home. He always needs help with some stuff. Like he doesn't really read people that well, like emotionally. He might read them, but he doesn't read them logically and things like that. So it's very interesting. So they might use their brain more than that. So that means we actually have potential to use our brain even more. I haven't studied savants. I just know about them. I did do a lot of research on them many years ago. And some people even hit by lightning, or I've heard a guy being attacked, like someone stole his wallet and hit him in the face. And when he woke up, before he was like just a regular guy. And when he woke up, he was like a genius at math and architecture and calculations and things like he'd never done before. That kind of means like his brain must have picked up these things from before, but really never had the reason to make sense of it and spend time on, any brain power on it. I'm scratching my eyes right now because I'm so tired, but I still want to talk about this subject because I'm very passionate, and my passionate mind is probably so tired it's trying to keep itself awake by being occupied by something like this. So what I want to talk about is like I said, your brain will always find a way to get what you want. If you really want something, you always find a way to get there. And so when your mind wants something, it calculates its way there. So when you say to yourself in a manifesting manner, you would say, I am rich. And your brain says, no, you're not rich, but you could do this and that to become rich. I've seen it on TikTok, or I've seen it on Instagram, or my friend says that buying, selling stocks or something is something to get rich from, or anything, we can just brainstorm on all the things that can make you rich. Sometimes you'll be even surprised, like people made a stupid little plastic thingy and sold it to hospitals, and now they're billionaires because it was cheaper than the one they used before or whatever. So it can be the strangest things that will turn into money. But will it then help you to say, just one day say, I am rich, say it 10 times, and then be like, that's it, now I'll be rich. If you believe it, there's a huge chance of you actually becoming richer and becoming rich, because we know this it's based on, if you never heard about laws of attraction, I urge you to, again, go on YouTube and go like Esther Hicks, or just do manifestation, or search for the movie called The Secret or something like that. Or What the Bleep Do We Know is the sequel to The Secret, I think. But there's a lot of things to be found on that, and a lot of people practicing, but nobody really understands how it works. And it sounds like magic, but if we take a look at it logically, and I know I'll take a look at it spiritually as well, but logically, you would spend all your time to say this mantra every day: I am rich, I am attracting abundance, I live and I thrive. In whatever I do, I always have a notion to always have an eye for the things that will make me richer, more abundant, more happy, more grateful. And so things like that, like a mantra you make up. I just made that one up, but it can be anything like that.
When you say that every day and you start not just saying it as words, but you're actually feeling it, imagining that is you, that you're living that thing and you're living that truth. You're going after this because you have passion. You start feeling the excitement of that is actually you. And the more that you don't put it in the future, that someday I will be this person, but you more and more say, today I'm abundant. The everything I see today, I will notice as abundance. If I have it in my life, if it's money that I want, I'll notice all the coins in my pocket. I'll notice the bills in my pocket, like the dollar bills, money bills in my pockets. I'll notice every time on a bank statement where there's money coming in, I'll notice that. Every time I see people around me having money, I'll notice it. I'll appreciate it. I'll be grateful for it. Because that's what I'm attracting, I'm aligned. So it's like you wanting, I don't know if you ever tried this, but if you ever thought about buying like a red car, and you want a red car, it's your dream car, you've been walking around, you're thinking about it, and suddenly you see red cars driving all over the streets. You're like, oh my God, everyone's just driving red cars nowadays? I can't believe it. I'm like, I want a red car, but I never saw so many red cars are coming back on the roads, or like people are buying them more now, I guess. And what really happened, mentally, physically, is that you just started noticing the existing red cars. Even now, just play with it. And look around you right now. All the things that are orange, try to find them. Anything that resembles orange or has something orange about it, and now do it with everything that's brown. And you decide what's more. Is there more brown? Is there more red? Is there more orange? But we start noticing a color. You challenge your brain to start noticing it. That's the logic behind laws of attraction. Your brain wants to figure this thing out. We have a function in the brain that actually wants to recognize patterns. There's even something called pareidolia. Pareidolia is something where you even look into the clouds and you'll see faces. Pareidolia comes from something else. I forgot what it is, but if you look it up on Wikipedia, you can see it actually stems from a word. I forgot what it's called, but it's just like finding any pattern in anything. So it can be like, every time I tied my shoelaces playing football, I always won. And that's why people become superstitious, because they always tie their shoes and they notice they would win every time. And when they start having this belief, guess what? Now, logically, your brain, your body, your passion will fight even more to get that. And then you're like, but Mark, you just said your subconscious is like 95% and your conscious is like 5%. So who's going to win this battle? And of course, the unconscious would win that. But let's go back to that idea then. And let's talk about, if you every day see movies about the world going under and doomsday, like the news, or start talking about oh, this is so dangerous, this thing should scare you, would you now be more likely to be in a fear mindset, or would you be more likely to be in a positive mindset? If you don't want to be on Earth anymore, I guess you would be in a positive mindset. But then that's a good invitation to listen to some of my podcasts, now more coming in English, because I did a lot of that in Danish already, talking about the positive mindset and the passionate mindset, and the common behavior of having depression now and then. So hopefully stay with us for a while, so you will actually at least give it a chance to not be negative about life, because there's so many beautiful things even here if it's tough sometimes. That's why I'm gonna give you my secrets and my experience of how you can better your life, and all because of passion. And so what I would suggest is so you see all these bad news anchors talking about all the horrible things happening, and all your amygdala in your brain reacts to it. It's like, oh my God, I have to prepare for this. I have to build a shelter. Or, oh my God, I have to prepare for this. I'll secure my family financially. Or, oh my God, I have to take care of this. I will make sure to travel in a country where this danger is not part of it. Anything like that is probably what your mindset would do. Normally, you start fearing things, or you're just panicking, running back and forth, and just being stressed because you don't know what to do. And that's just your brain starting to figure out, how can I solve this? And if you're a very passive mindset, your brain will just get stuck there, and you won't really know how to solve it. And that really stems from not having autonomy, like being aware that you can just do whatever you want in life. You're not addicted to your parents. You're not addicted to any person saying what you have to do and what you shouldn't do, but really bringing back your autonomy, like you are actually the master of your own life. Your perception is reality. So if you say, I can't do this alone, you will be right. If you say, I can do anything alone, you will be right. The more that you condition your mind, and that's what I talked about with the news thing, you are conditioned with the red car thing, you're conditioned to see red cars because that's where your focus is. Now you're just basically noticing a lot of cars. Before that, you didn't have that dream about the car. You didn't notice cars at all. You wouldn't even be occupied by that. You'd be occupied about who you want to date or what food you want. And also with the news, now you're indoctrinated and brainwashed to think that the world is going under. And it's a horrible thing and you should be worried. But have you ever stopped and said, like, I'm so glad I worried that much, because if I didn't worry that much, this great thing wouldn't have happened? No, usually it's when we step out of the worry and we actually start putting actions behind it. Then we realize that it's not the worry, it's the actions after the worry that actually makes sense. And you just, whatever you expect in life and whatever reality, the people you are surrounded by, their beliefs you are breathing in and being around every day. So you will actually become what you are around. Meaning, it doesn't mean that you're around couches, you will become a couch, but you'll probably be more likely to sit on a couch, lie on a couch, be more lazy. Except if you're like a guy that moves couches for people, you'll be more likely every time you see a couch thinking that it should be moved somewhere, because that's your mindset. That's what it's been trained for. That's what you're indoctrinated to. If you went to school a lot, you're probably indoctrinated to think that teachers always know better than you. You probably, even though you really become a nerd in some business or some subject, you would probably think, oh, there's probably a teacher out there much better than I am, because you're indoctrinated to think that you have to go to school to learn. But what is school really? School is just a place you go and ask people for questions. They tell you what books to read, and sometimes they'll answer the questions that you asked or point to the book you have to read. So what you really could do is just read the books, and then you're like, what book should I read? You can actually research that on the internet, because a lot of people like you didn't go to school and they know a hell of a lot of things because they have passion. They actually got up from their asses and they moved to a computer or a book or whatever, and they did something about it. And the same thing goes with so much other things. Even I'd said before that being around other people, we even know this now, that people are inherently energy. We have a full-on vortex. The heart of ours creates a vortex. We even know this from studies about that we are like filled with cells. We're one big energy system. That's not even, when you touch yourself, if you hold hands with yourself, your hands are not physically touching. There's literally more space between the atoms in your body than there's actual atoms. That means you're more nothing than you are something. And that can really blow your mind if you play around with that. But that's, again, physics and mixed into laws of attraction, which would be, I forgot it now. I guess I am really getting tired. But I mentioned in the beginning, it's the theory of, no, it's not even theory, but literally it's, let me tell you what it stems from. I'm really going on different branches here. Let me go back to the main thing first. This is me when I'm tired. So what I wanted to say to you, when you know that you can indoctrinate yourself by watching TV every day, by listening to your friends every day, gossip or whatever they do, maybe they do great things. They motivate you every day. That's amazing. But the people you're around, the things that you watch, the things that you eat, what you smell, what you see, that all becomes you. Even if you are like, no, I'm not really paying attention to this. Wait a minute. Your subconscious is paying a lot of attention to it. So you really have to understand that your brain picks up on so many things. And that's why I brought in the savants before. Some guy that was just a regular guy that didn't notice anything. He got hit in the head. He woke up and now he's like a brilliant math magician. You know, he knows everything about geometry. That's the right word. Yeah. And, you know, so really that shows that our brains are working all the time. Your brain is just a bunch of connections, but knowledge is there all the time. And so when you're aware of this, you can as well understand that you can indoctrinate yourself. So every day if you say, I am rich, I am happy, I am grateful, I love, I attract all these things that are good for me. Anything that's within my highest and best good, I will collect, I will understand, I will cherish, I will have. And when you get them, you'll see more and more noticing, wow, I'm actually getting abundance. I'm actually getting these things. And you will attract more of that, not only spiritually because you believe it, but also you connect to that energy field of attraction because you're such aware of it. Now your subconscious is being told, also noticing you every day, just like a news channel, that you're talking to it every day, and it's listening daily. That is actually slowly your emotions start to be there, like, oh, I actually did find like $1,000 bill, if that even exists. I did actually found like $100 of bills. I did actually found like 100 euros, whatever. It could be anything. And you start noticing every time you find coins on the street, or you find, you know, a little piece of gold, like an earring, or some friends say, you know what, I'll pay for you. You know, you don't have to pay for the beers today, or whatever it can be. You start noticing, wait a minute, I'm actually getting stuff all the time. I'm abundant. Even people's energy, like people's time, they want to spend time with me. They want to, you know, do favors for me. They want to like help, and they're there, and they're like, I can count on them. They're like, I'm abundant. The more that you notice, the more you're grateful for it. When you're grateful for it, you connect even deeper to that energy. But if your subconscious mind keeps watching other things, saying you're not abundant because, you know, you compare yourself to people on Instagram that are billionaires, even you don't even know if they're fake or real billionaires, but that's what you look at, and you're saying, I still don't have $1 billion, so that's not true, I'm not rich yet. Yeah, your subconscious is going to listen to that too as well. So this is really an invitation and a podcast about how to really step into manifesting something. It's having the trust that whatever the mantra you say you want, if it's a great relationship, sorry, or if it's like money, it's time, it's great health, or it's all of those. Whatever you're asking for, you're stepping into that. But as long as you trust it, believe it, and you feel it, and you live it, and you start feeling the joy of it, and forget the pessimism and put some passion behind it, and really enjoy the now, and really enjoy the flow of things, not trying to force money out of people because now you're attracting it. No, that's not attraction. That's a distortion, or like that's literally like forcing money to come to you. Of course, it's setting up boundaries. If people do owe you money, you could be like, okay, so I'm abundant, I'm attracting money. I might as well start collecting the money that people already, you know, are supposed to give me. And you can say, listen, I'm actually trying to attract money right now, so really appreciate you if you could pay back what you owe me. You know, however we can find a way. Again, go with the flow. If they're like, I really don't have anything, you know, don't rely on those people, even though if they're lying to you, what else? You trying to force the money back wouldn't be attraction. It would be trusting that you will get the money back, even when you reach out to them. You trust even if they don't have money right now. They will have money because I just attracted it, and I know they owe me. It might not be the first money I fall over to become rich, but it might actually be the second or the third or the hundredth time when I get money that it came from them. Whatever it is, it's also putting up boundaries, saying, would I sit here and, spend my time giving away my time to a client that I know is trying to exploit me? Is that the type of energy that's abundant? No. I was asking and saying, I am abundance. I attract abundance. I am rich. I attract richness. I attract everything that has a value of high value that's connected to my highest and best good. I will attract that. So when I do that, of course, I don't want to sit and spend time on people and things that are, not in line with that, where I feel I'm forced to do it. I feel tired when I do it. I don't feel the passion when I'm doing it. Then you want to step out of that, because that's not alignment. But only if you got it right. If you got, you feel the gratefulness. Don't quit your job just to sit there every day and say you're abundant when you know you're not. And I'm saying no, you're not. You're telling your subconscious that you're not abundant. You're telling your conscious, I'm not abundant. When you keep saying that, that's going to be true. So when you quit your job, it doesn't feel abundant, then don't do it. But if you sit every day in your job and you're miserable, start finding out what you want instead. Maybe abundance and money isn't the most important thing. Maybe happiness comes first. So I want to find a job where I'm happy and I will be abundant. And so you spend your time, instead of spending on someone that wastes your time. In general, nobody wastes your time. It's just a lesson. Really what they do, they waste your time so you can learn, oh, this is feeling like I'm wasting my time. Right, so that's what they're teaching you right now. And so how are you going to react to it? Are you going to ignore it and just continue like nothing happened? Or are you going to be like, listen, dude, I'm sure this could be fun, but I feel this is leading nowhere right now. I want to focus on some things where my passion is. So let's postpone whatever this conversation is to another time and see if it still is something that needs to be settled. And because I want to focus on this thing now. Or even if it's a friendship, there's like trouble in it, you can be like, listen, I want to focus on the friendship where we have abundance, because then we can go from that and we can build from that. So instead of seeing what we don't have, and if your friend is not willing to go with you into that, maybe there's no abundance in that friendship. Maybe just stepping a little bit away from that friendship, or just letting it run its course and go with the flow, see what happens, and still practice. Just accept that it's there, because that's your current timeline. That's the current thing that you attracted. Slowly attract all, or fast, however you work on that abundance to attract the other thing in. So it's really understanding that everything you surround yourself with has an energy, and that energy you can attract beautiful things, abundance, and whatever you want. So all in all, I wanted to say, reminding you that your subconscious is super strong and your consciousness can create. Your subconscious can create as well, but it creates more emotions, more things you won't know. Your subconscious is amazing, because that's also where your intuition is. It's part of that. Like when you're in your unconsciousness, like not when you're unconscious, but when your subconscious, I love this, me changing the words so it sounds like you have to be unconscious to attract anything. No, that's not what I'm saying. I hope you didn't pick up on that. But your subconscious will also be where you sometimes can hear or feel, that is the key word, feeling, your intuition. It often comes from the same place, because if it's fear, it also can come from the subconscious. That's why I had a hard time when I took an education in mediumship, becoming a clairvoyant, as we call it in Denmark. I had to practice to figure out what is fear, because that comes unconscious as well, like an automated system, and so does intuition. So knowing what is fear and what is intuition, what is overthinking, what is intuition. Intuition comes out of the blue, like lemon. Why would Mark say lemon in the middle of a podcast? That's very strange. Pineapple. Oh, we're in a fruit theme now. Wrench. That's how the subconscious comes, like out of context sometimes, but still connected somehow to like something that's irrelevant, sometimes becomes very relevant if you listen to your subconscious or really your intuition. So I'm getting so tired now, I'm mixing up the words, but I think I got the essence of what I wanted to talk about today. And I hope you picked up some of that. So I urge you to sit down, if you want to try this out, write down a list of things you want in your life. And then really go into depth if you want. Why do you want these things? And how do you get these things? If you have no real questions, but really some people say, I want to be slim. Why do you want to be slim? I want to be slim because then I'll be happier. But then why do you want to be happier? No, because when I'm happier, I attract the right man or woman. But why do you want to attract the right woman or man? Because then I can get married. Why do you want to get married? Oh, it's because I really dream of this beautiful house where I have my husband or wife and we have a dog and we're just in nature and it's going to be amazing. And you're like, but why do you want that? Oh, because when I'm in nature, I'm happy. Oh, right. But you said you wished for happiness and you then told the full story of what will make you happy. But now you're closing down for any, you could just wish for happiness. Like, I mixed the story up. But if you just wish for happiness instead of wishing to become slim, that's irrelevant to be slim, to become beautiful, to attract the right person, to then be married, to then attract the right house, to then be happy. Why not attract happiness and see what comes? Maybe you'll be surprised that you'll be very happy with very little things. You don't even need that house. Maybe you'll meet a guy that loves that you're not slim and he already owns a farm. So if you did become slim, that wouldn't happen. Or she did, if you did attract your wife or whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't know if you're a man or woman when I'm talking to you because, I have to include everyone here, both two genders that we have. So all in all, I would say, the more that you can focus on really the list of what you want and then start writing a mantra, I am, and then the thing that you want. And then say, a whole verse and you practice that verse, you say it numerous times per day. You start even collecting images. When you search the internet, you see something that's beautiful in the street that resembles all your dreams, take a picture of it. Start having an album on your phone or put it as your background on your phone or print it out and do like a collage on your wall with all the beautiful things that you want in your life. So you can look at it every day and get that sense and that emotion connecting to your subconscious and your emotion and your consciousness. And then you realize that you keep saying that every day. And the more you get of it, the more you realize what you're getting. And don't even mention, don't even be focused on how much time is it going to take? Why don't I get the things? Now, I've been doing it for a month. If I'd told you before that you have to do it for a month and one day if you didn't complain once, but every time you complained, you reset everything to zero again. And you had to ask on day 30, and I knew you would get everything on day 31, but you have to be skeptical again and say it doesn't work, and then you would reset everything again. Would you then reset things by not trusting, by not going with what is spiritually, godly, beautiful, logically focused, conscious and unconscious? Wouldn't you, subconscious, wouldn't you just rather try it and go with it and trust it? Because if you're not having what you want in your life right now, wouldn't it just be logically just nice to focus on the things you have? So reminding you that if you focus on the things you don't have, guess what you're going to get? More of that, because that feels right. That's why you'll see insecure women finding insecure men that will yell at them or hit them or anything like that, because the men now shows the women. This even goes vice versa with men and women, the other way around. But the women choosing the men that would beat them, just so when they beat them, the women could feel that they don't have value, just like they've been telling themselves for ages. It's literally a slow brainwashing that you will attract the people that will make sure you feel the way you feel right now. So if you don't feel good, start looking around you and say, what am I surrounded by that I don't like or that doesn't make me feel good? And then start changing the things. But don't change them to then think, now I will feel good because it's not there. No, start focusing on the things that you're surrounded about that really makes you feel good. So it's all about focus. It's all about passion and focus coming together and you being super honest and authentic about what you actually want instead of just getting fooled like everyone else. I just want a Porsche. Why? So you can drive to work that like 5 miles in a Porsche? Why do you need that? Why do you want that? What is your passion about this? Oh, it's just going to look so good. Yeah, but why do you want it? Oh, so I can attract women. Okay. So really you don't want the Porsche to attract women. You want hot women that want you, but do you really want them because they want you or your Porsche? Or that guy they think you are in the Porsche? Like, what do you really think they want? They probably want you, yeah? That probably feels a little bit better than they want you for you, and not because you're a Porsche. But yeah, I get it. Like, sometimes a Porsche works. But guess what type of women you attract if you get that Porsche? And be like, yeah, I don't care. They're hot. Okay, so you want a hot girl that will break up with you very quickly as soon as you don't have that Porsche anymore. Or you change to a nicer car. Like, I don't know, Ferrari. I'm not really actually agreeing that it's a nicer car, but let's just say that. And so you want to change that car, and she's like, no, I'm not really into Ferrari, and she leaves you. And you're like, girl, I have money, I have a Rolex, I have all these things. And she's like, yeah, but your personality sucks. What do you really want? So be honest about it and be really clear, because often we want random things because we have trauma from childhood, thinking that one thing is going to make us happy. No, that's been indoctrinated into you since you were a child. Just like I said before, all the things you think you want. I just had a chat with this about with my niece, and she's like, I used to want those shoes, but now everyone has them. And I thought that was so cool, and they're still pretty nice, but everyone has them. There's nothing special in it. I'm just going to look like the rest, and I don't feel like looking like the rest. I'm not like the rest, so why should I run around the same uniform as them? I want to be myself. I want to be unique. Sure, I can wear the same pair of shoes that some couple of people in my class, but I'll just buy them in a different color or whatever. I just don't want to run around the same. Or it's my best friend. I feel great that we share the same clothes, or it's my twin sister or whatever. It's all about, abundance is, are you getting the things that you want, or are you just getting random stuff that really doesn't make you happy? So you might be abundant already, and somebody else wants your life right now because you have that job or that girl or that man or that car or that confidence, or that you're really good at explaining podcasts after you hear them to someone else. They're like, oh, you're so wise. How do you get so wise? And she's like, dude, I just watch inspirational things on YouTube, and I listen to Mark's podcast, Passionate Mind. I'm not really sure, actually. There's another podcast called that, so I'm just going to check that out later on. But that for now, maybe I'll just change the name of the podcast every time I put a new episode out. But anyways, back to the basics. I hope I got through to you what I really wanted to say. And maybe you already knew this, and I congratulate you because you just attracted what you already knew. That means you're on the right track. You're already aligned with the things, and you're just understanding it already. I'm just confirming that you are on the right path right now, because that's what you got to listen to this podcast in the first place. So nothing is coincidental. So it's just, you're here because it has a purpose, and you're here. Either this feels like nonsense to you, but somehow you even listen for this long. So even if it's nonsense to you, I promise you it will make sense. If not now, then later. Sometimes someone plants a seed. Maybe I didn't even plant the seed in you. Maybe you are just listening to someone watering that seed. And maybe I just gave it a drop, and you gave it 10 drops, and someone tomorrow will give it 100 drops. That's enough. It's going to grow. It's going to be something. I just want you to trust that God, Allah, or the spirit world or Buddha didn't put you in this life for it to be hard. He put you in this life to show you that if you go with the flow, things will be hard, but the more that you do them, it doesn't feel hard anymore. Like 2 + 2 is what? Yeah, it's not that hard anymore, is it? But when you were a kid, that was pretty hard, remembering what 2 + 2 was. And I want to say it's 5. No, I'm kidding. This is the world we live in right now. People are trying to make things happen out of the thin air, like lies, and just be gaslighting that men can become women and women can become men, which is factually wrong. But, I'm sure people can feel like that, and I congratulate them. But, I'm not really into that. Well, I'm into it by talking about how weird I think it is. But I don't think we should listen to all this indoctrination. And of course, I've been indoctrinating you for over half an hour now. But, you can always stop the indoctrination by changing out something else, listening to something else. And you get a widespread mindset of everything, whatever you need. I'm sure you'll attract exactly what you need to know. And I hope you were inspired by this podcast. If you were, please share it on whatever media you are on, social media, or send it to a friend that you think needs to attract more into their life, or someone that already is attracting everything, and say, when I heard this podcast, I thought about you, and you're an inspiration to me. So thanks. Guess what? You're grateful for something. You will attract more of that. So if you didn't like it, please hit me up on Instagram. You can find me on Mark Barner, MarkBarner, and you can write me. You can even go on markbarner.com, spelled the same way. And you can reach me through there and tell me what you think, give me your feedback on what you're thinking, and do you manifest or attract something in your life in a better way than I just explained? I would love to hear from you, and reach out to me if you want to know more about health and tips and spirituality and mindset and everything. Again, you'll find more of that on Instagram, Mark Barner, and you can also find more of it on TikTok. I actually have a TikTok account. I'm not using it too much, but I still put a lot of stuff on there. That's way more about mindset, and that's way more about on the same subject as this podcast is right now. And so I might even do some of the things I've done on TikTok and put it on here, like a longer version of that. I appreciate you so much, and I hope you can feel the authenticity and the passion, even if it's, what is it now? Close to 2 o'clock at night here. I should get some sleep, and I thank you again. And stay motivated, stay passionate, and thank you for listening to
Passionate Mark.
I am Mark Barner, and I'm going to sleep.